This is Sherry Heil, and this is Be an Idealist podcast. Today, I want to talk about the number one thing holding people back from creating their ideal life. Yesterday, I had announced that that's what the theme was going to be for this podcast. We are going to call it Be an Idealist, and being an idealist means focusing on your ideal life, creating your ideal life, no matter what's going on in the world, no matter the changes, disruptions, staying focused on that ideal life you want to create for yourself. Because as far as we know, we only get one life. So we might as well try to focus on making it the ideal life for us. But there's something that keeps people from doing that. It's kept me from doing it many times, and I see it all around me. And it's something that I actually have been studying and trying to write a book about. The book's taken me a lot longer than I wanted to. And the book was initially titled, it has a new title now, but the working title of it was Defeating the Ego. Because the number one thing I have witnessed that keeps people from creating their ideal life is their ego. Now, I used to go to a church, and I had read in one of their books that ego stood for edging God out. And I really, really liked that. I thought that was very tangible way of looking at the ego. If you're not spiritual and you're not religious, that's cool. We could say that ego stands for edging goals out. So either way, it makes it tangible of that it's your ego that is edging either your goals or God or spiritual out of your life. Now, what do I mean by ego? Couple of good. One thing, I guess we should define ego. I think of ego as your false sense of self. And this happens to us for many reasons. Either people imposing their ideas on us of who they think we should be. Our reactions to how people have reacted to us throughout life, things like that. So I have three things that I know that I've witnessed and that I've experienced. The first one is the I'm not good enough ego. What does that mean? Well, let's start with this podcast. I'm not good enough, or I don't have the resources enough to start this podcast. So since it's not going to be good enough, since it's not going to be perfect, I'm not going to start it. I know that in a previous video, I had mentioned about my goal of working out and getting into shape. Well, when I walked into that gym, I couldn't run. I could barely walk at 2.7 miles per hour. So I could have said, I'm not good enough to keep up with people in the gym, so I'm not going to go. That is that ego that's stopping us. No, when you start, no matter what it is, you're not going to be good enough. You're not going to live up to the standards of what you want for yourself. But if you let that stop you, if you don't keep pushing forward, then you're not going to improve, you're not going to get feedback, and you're never going to get what you want. You're never going to create that ideal life. So your ego, in that sense, is standing away. It's edging your goals out, or if you're spiritual and you believe it's something God wants for you, or the God within you, however you feel about your spirituality. If you're saying, no, it's not good enough, therefore I'm not going to do it, your ego is standing in the way of creating that ideal life. The second thing is it's not what I should do. And I experienced this one a lot in 2019. What happened in my life is I had been working for myself. I think a lot of you might know that since 2005. The main reason I was working for myself was so that I had the flexibility to be home with my children. Sometimes when you work for yourself, sometimes the money's really good and sometimes it's not good at all. It's an up and down scenario. But it didn't matter for me because the number one thing was to be home for my children. Well, when my youngest son graduated, I was faced with the idea that I could get a job. I could have steady income. I can make all kinds of money for our family. And that's what I should do. So I explored that avenue, but I kept coming back to wanting to build my company, wanting to build Amplified Concepts, wanting to keep working for myself. But to do that meant continuing having the risk, continuing having the ups and downs in my income, working even harder to make this happen with not as much return on my investment right away. And there was that dynamic of what should I do versus what I wanted to do. Now, if I focused on what I should do, I wouldn't be building my company. I wouldn't be working for myself right now. I wouldn't be sitting in this office speaking to you. And so when you're focusing on what you should do versus what you want to do, you're edging God out. You're letting that ego get in the way. And that ego, remember, is that false sense of self. And who I am is the person who needs to be building my company and building this brand. So that's saying that is not the ego. If I went with what I should be doing, that's that false sense of self. That's the ego. The third thing, this is the big one I run into a lot when I speak to people, is it's beneath me. It's, I'm better than that. I'm above that. I don't want to do that. It's beneath me. Let me explain a little what I mean by that. As I mentioned in the second scenario, when you work for yourself, your income's up and down. When your income's down, guess what? You still have bills to pay. Several years ago, I guess it's been 4 years ago now, I talked my older son, into driving Uber Eats. And as I was talking him into driving Uber Eats, it dawned on me, hey, I should sign up to drive Uber. Because when it's down, it supplements my income. Now, a lot of people are shocked when they hear, yeah, sometimes I get in the car and I deliver food. And it's about $15 an hour. It's a lot less money than what I make when I'm sitting with a client, but it supplements my income. It's not beneath me, and it allows me to do what I want to do. It allows me to turn down the clients I want to turn down. I have a client, or I had a person call me and try to talk me down on my pricing, and I basically said, no, it's not worth the opportunity cost, because I could go drive Uber and make the same amount of money without diminishing my brand, without diminishing my skill set. So whether it's driving Uber, walking dogs, we live in this gig economy that if you want to do something and you think money's holding you back, money is not holding you back. There's so many jobs out there right now that you can take to supplement your income while you're building a business, or if you need extra money to invest in a project or whatever it is. It's not beneath you to go shop for somebody with Instacart. It's not beneath you to walk a dog. It's not beneath you to cut your budget down so that you're driving a cheaper car or you're not going out to eat as much. If what you need to do is what you need to do to achieve your goals, then it's not beneath you. And if you feel like it is, then it's your ego, and your ego is edging your goals out or edging God out. So I hope this was helpful to some of you. Go out there and be an idealist. Have a great day.